I've been in the charity sector in the UK for over 20 years, and I started from bottom. How do you want your organization to be funded? Because structure follows funding. When there is no clear demarcation between your personal money and the money that is coming to the organization, then that is poor financial decision. You should have a reserves policy, something that you can fall back on. You don't have any excuse. You don't have any excuse to deliver your report and accounts late. And some churches do it consistently.
Hi, everyone. Hope you are doing well. This is Bola Amore, your Old Stone Wisdom for Exploit. Our focus today is charity, CIC, Community Interest Company, and Company Limited by Guarantee, what every founder should know. When considering establishment of a social enterprise, the selection of an appropriate legal framework stands as a paramount consideration. It influences your funding, leadership rules, and ultimately the differences you make. Today, we'll be examining three common structures, emphasize their fundamental distinctions, and guide founders in selecting the option that best suits their mission, objectives, and future aspiration. This section will provide a clarity and confidence regardless of whether you are just starting with an idea or you are prepared to register. With me today is Pastor Maureen Carroll, a distinguished woman of God who served as a minister and a Christian leader in the UK. She is the founder and director of Right Impression Limited, a management consulting and training firm. She provides expert advice, forming organization and guidance on creating daily operational system and procedure. She is passionate about promoting a culture of excellence in organization. Welcome, Pastor Maureen. How are you faring, ma?
Thank you so much, Pastor Bola, for having me on your show. And I am doing well. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Wonderful. Yeah, I know I've mentioned a little bit about your background. So please, ma, could you please introduce yourself more or tell us more about yourself?
Okay. I think the one thing that I want people to take away from this show about me is the fact that I am very passionate about excellence in whatever we do. I believe that God has called me into the marketplace to help Christians, to equip and to empower them to be salt and light in any sphere of influence that they belong to. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. So even though I'm a charity consultant, I'm also a leadership coach. So I'm not restricted really to the charity sector. But that's what most people know about me, because the church and Christian ministries that I really love to work with is under the umbrella of charity.
Wonderful. Nice to have you anyway, and thank you for honoring this call. That's a wonderful one. So my introduction question to you is, why did you choose to be a charity consultant and a ministry coach?
Thank you so much for that question, because it really goes into my calling. I've been in the charity sector in the UK for over 20 years, and I started from bottom, I rose through the bottom. I didn't come in as a director or whatever. I started my career in the charity sector as a volunteer. And so, opening up a post and going through everything. But by nature, I'm a very observant person. And being in the leadership team in the church that I attended at the time, I just noticed that we weren't doing things the way we ought to do them. And as I prayed and tried to bring in best practice to the local assembly that I went to at the time, that I attended at the time, that passion grew. And of course, I'm also an evangelist by calling. And anything that would give us a good reputation out there. And when I talk about us, I mean the church, the body of Christ, I'm always going for it. And so I realized that if we don't tighten up our practices, especially Black-oriented Christian organizations in this country, because we've come in here, we need to understand the system and what are the things that are required of us so that we can actually be salt and light. Because I don't believe that it's just preaching. You have to live what you preach. Okay? You have to walk the talk. And part of walking the talk is making sure that wherever you work as an organization, you need to follow the rules, regulatory rules. Very, very important. So that's where the passion came. And then obviously over time, the Lord gave me that word, the name rather, right impressions. And the Lord said to me, I want my body to give the right impression about Christ to the society that they belong to. So not just UK, all over the world. Right impressions is going in there to say to the church, you have to rightly represent Christ in this society.
Wonderful. That's a wonderful one. Well done. That's a wonderful one. Thank you for explaining that. So today, as I said, that we're going to focus on the charity CIC and Company Limited by guarantee, what every leader should know or founder should know. So my first question to you is, if someone is choosing between a charity, CIC, and Company Limited by guarantee today, what one question should they ask themselves first and why?
Okay, very good question.
Thank you.
What I always say to them is, how do you want your organization to be funded? Because structure follows funding. And in most cases, when I ask people that question, they really haven't thought about it. And I always say to people, there's a dark side. I always say there's a dark side to charity, meaning that it's not just about setting up an organization. You have to think about it, just like when you want to bring a baby to the world. It's not the day you get pregnant that you even buy the cots and everything. You're preparing, you're already making preparation. It's not the day you give birth to the baby that you now begin to think, oh, I need to get feeding bottle, I need to get clothes for them. So you have to think about, how am I going to fund this organization? Because that's what will determine the structure that you would have, the structure that you will give to that organization. So sometimes people come to me, oh, I want to set up a CIC. And I'm like, okay, what's your vision? What's your mission? What are the activities that you're going to be involved in? And at the end of the day, sometimes I'm even telling them, you're not even ready to be, don't even consider registration at this point in time. Go and do A, B, C, D, depending on what they have shared with me. So the first question is, how are you going to be funded?
Okay.
How is money going to come into your organization? That's what I mean by how are you going to.
Yeah, I do understand.
Well, I'm just saying it for our viewers' sake.
Okay. So what about if somebody comes to you and they said, okay, I just want to start a little business, and I don't even know which one to go for. Is the charity should I go for, or CIC should I go for, or Company by Limited Guarantee?
Okay, so when you say somebody wants to start a business, that's completely different, because when you're starting a business, it definitely cannot be a charity. Now, even with Company Limited by Guarantee, that is supposed to be a non-profit structure. So you have already removed 2 out of the 3 that you have said. Now the CIC, and let me just give you a little bit of background, because people don't understand why the CIC came into play. The reason why the government brought in CIC was that they realized that some people, even though they have a passion to do good, they also want to earn while they're doing it. And so you hear things like social entrepreneur. Okay? So you're an entrepreneur, but you are also socially committed to your society. And that means that you're combining 2 things. You're combining making profit with also doing good in the community that you live in. So if you are thinking, remember what I said from the first question you asked me, how is your organization going to be funded? So if you're thinking that you want to earn from your organization, definitely CIC is the structure, because the CIC allows you, or allows the director or directors to have a a section or a part of the profits that they make. Okay, the bulk of the profit is going to be plowed back into the organization, but there is a cap, there is a limit to how much you can gain from the profit that you make from your social enterprise. Okay, so that's why you have the community interest company. So it's a company, but it has the interest of the community. That's why it's called a community interest company. So the government brought it in to meet the needs of people who want to do good in the society, but also want to earn from the good that they are doing.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you for explaining that, ma'am. Okay, one question is coming to me before our next question. What about people, I know you stand for the ministry, to help the ministry, to get it more, to get it right, which is very good. So what about people that have ministry and they have business alongside? I know some people have like a charity. Anyway, that one still come under the same charity. But what about if they have an external charity based on what you just explained now, that when it comes to social interest, or social entrepreneur. So let's say there is a ministry now and they have a business and they said, this business, we don't want to put it under charity. So, but we want to register the church and want the business to attach with the church. So which one should they go for?
Okay, so then what they need to do, and that's why I always say to people, have you seen the letterhead of some charities? I mean, we have examples of these major charities that have, what do you call it? Charity shops. It's the same thing. Yeah. Okay, so that is a business, but you have to remember that it's a business, but not a business. Because the reason why you're setting up this enterprise is that you want it to feed into the parent company, the parent organization. So it's really not, and that's why charity shops things, goods and services are cheap, because the motivation is not making money. If not, then you have to be company limited by shares. Okay, so what you need to do, so say for instance you've started your church, your ministry, and then you want to sell books or you want to open a charity shop, then you can set up a CIC, okay, with the same name alongside that. Okay, so it's sort of like a part of, like, the baby of the ministry. Okay, so that's the way to go, that's the way forward. So for a Christian organization, maybe somebody is listening to us right now and they want to set up a charity shop, maybe linked to their ministry or linked to their church. That's the way forward. Or they could set up a company limited by guarantee. It's still non-profit. They're not looking to make money. Do you understand?
Yeah, my own question is now
to plow into the parent organization.
My question is that, I do understand what you said. Thank you for that point. But what about the one they said they want to make money? Like now they are selling, some churches, they sell books, they sell audio, they sell all these, messages and other stuff, all this Christian stuff. So what about that they want to make money?
If it is profit oriented, then they need to set up a company limited by shares. And it has a different name. But I mean, I like I said, belonging to a church with, as one of the leaders in the church where I attended, when we sell tapes, we are not selling it because we want to make money. We sell them at giveaway prices, because for us the motivation is to encourage our listeners or our members to listen to the message. But if it is that we want to make money, then you have to set up a separate organization. Even when you're selling books, you're not selling it because you want to make money. Where is that money going into? Do you understand? If it's going into somebody's personal pocket, then that's not charitable. But if the motivation is that you want to plow the money back into the ministry, then that's not making profit. Yes, I'm not saying you're going to sell it at a loss, but the motivation is you're making that money for the organization, not personal pocket. That's the difference. So if it's that this is me, so say for instance a pastor, for instance, is writing books and he wants to set that organization up for himself, to make money from his books, which he's entitled to. There's nothing wrong with that. He needs to set up a separate organization that will have his name, and he's responsible to the company's house for annual reports and accounts. There's nothing wrong with that, but he needs to make sure that he's properly registered and that is noted that this is for him, not under the church. But if it's under the church, it has everything has to be under, like the reports and accounts. Every penny needs to go into the parent organization's account. Okay. So it's the motivation is, why are you doing this, that will, inform the structure.
Okay, thank you very much, ma. So my next question, what is the biggest legal or financial mistake you see new funders make, and how can our audience avoid it? Okay.
The crucial one that I know that many people make is mixing passion with poor financial discipline. When there is no clear demarcation between your personal money and the money that is coming to the organization, then that is poor financial decision. There is no budget. Like every year, an organization, whether you're a church, a Christian ministry, or a corporate organization, you should have a budget for the year. You should have a budget. You should have, and for each department should have a budget. These are things that I always say to pastors, Christian ministry leaders. You should have a budget. Don't just put hand in the money. In fact, some people don't even have petty cash, petty cash. Do you understand? Procedure or processes. You should do that. It's not that after collection on Sunday, we just dip our hands on it. We are paying the person who played the guitar and we are paying. No, there should be proper record. And sometimes organizations don't have this, especially Christian ministries, I have to say. And this is my burden. That's why I'm talking about it. Some organizations, some charities don't have a reserves plan. By law, Charity Commission expects you to have a reserves policy. What does that mean? Minimum of 3 months operational funding, so that if funding dries up, you have something to fall back on. Some organizations don't have that, but you should have it. You should have a reserves policy, something that you can fall back on. We have it as, as a on a personal note. We call it a rainy day. Rainy day. Rainy day savings. An organization should have their own rainy day savings. That's the reserves policy. So when you don't have reserves policy as an organization, you are setting yourself up for poor financial, discipline. Okay? There's no clear separation, like I said, between personal money and organizational money. Oh, pastor, we need to buy this. Pastor dips his hand in his pocket. Okay, pay me back. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. It's sloppy. So,
I think that with what you said, which is very good, maybe because sometimes when younger ministry, the ministry when they're still young,
yes.
I think that's why they always have that problem, because they don't have an accountant. They can't avoid an accountant to do accounting or their expenditures, for them. So how can they manage that?
I was just going to say to you, you don't need an accountant to do that. If you have a mind for good practice, okay? And that's why I said sometimes when people come to me, I'll say to them, you're not ready. You don't have to register. In this country, they know that some organizations start off before registration. Do you know, even as a small charity, you have a constitution as a small charity, you are not registered, you can even claim gifted. Some people don't know that. This is what I'm saying about when you come and you want to start an organization, you need to understand the system that governs the place that you're in. And the problem is people don't get educated. So you don't need an accountant. Simple, what do you call it? Excel. That is it. Excel spreadsheet. This is the money that came in. This is the money that is going out. That's all you need. So it's the mind, it's having that mindset. That is what is the problem. If you have a mindset that you want to do what is right, you'll be able to set up simple processes within your organization. I spoke to you about petty cash. Do you need an accountant to set up petty cash? You don't. Your trustees, that is the job of your trustees. Some people don't use their trustees. Do you understand? They don't. That is the reason. So when you're choosing your trustees, you're thinking about your finances, you're thinking about admin. You bring people in because of their skills, not because of emotion or passion. These are people that are supposed to come in to add value to what you're doing, to give guidance and direction. And when they all come together, I mean, the church is fantastic. The Bible tells us, it says we all come together. One has a psalm, one has a hymn. That's the way the board should operate. Yeah. So if you have somebody on the board that is really good with figures, they just set up a simple Excel sheet. And you're able to record these things. That's all it is. So the only thing is really going to cost you is your time. That's the only thing that is going to cost you. So I always say to people, you don't need to register now. What's the rush? Okay, so people say, oh, because we want to apply for funding. And I'm like, you don't even have anything on ground to actually even make you eligible for funding. Do you get?
I get it.
And then sometimes, you have these people who would promise them heaven and earth. Oh, there's a pot of money, but they don't tell them that you are not eligible for funding. And so they too, they are rushing. We want to register, and then they don't get the funding. So what happens? And I always say to people, look, if you want to even register, one thing that is non-negotiable, at the end of 1 year, the Charity Commission is going to ask you for report and accounts. You need an accountant to do that. So if you know that at the end of 12 months, you are not going to have enough money to pay an accountant, I always advise people who come to me, don't register, because you're going to get yourself into trouble. So these are the things that you can avoid. But because people don't want to get educated, even if you put program together, ask them to pay £25, they're like, put your money where your mouth is. And I always believe that, if you truly believe God has given you this vision, then you have to give it everything you have. Just like, the man that gave his servants 2 talents, 5 talents. Those people went and they actually, involved themselves. They multiplied what they had. How are you showing? How are you showing to God that I believe in this? Yeah, we throw birthday parties. God knows how much we spend, and we cannot spend money on the ministry that God has given us. We spend money on the clothes that we are going to wear when we are going to preach, and we can't spend money on this ministry that God has given to us. I just think that sometimes we've misplaced our priorities. Wow. I don't want to get too passionate now.
Wow.
These are the burdens on my heart.
A strong one. Wonderful. That's a very, so you know what, you need to be passionate about the ministry God has given to you. I think knowledge is power, Pastor Maureen, and knowledge is power. Is the knowledge.
Absolutely.
In your you're getting, the Bible says get understanding. You see, knowledge is very good, because without knowledge we make a lot of mistakes.
That's right.
With you, thank you for sharing that. In a simple terms, what do restrict or unrestricted funds means, and how can misunderstanding them cause an organization to fail?
Fantastic question.
Thank you.
Because many organizations actually fall foul and they get into trouble because of this. So just as the name implies, unrestricted means that you can use it for general things as long as it is legal and your constitution covers it. You can use it for the general running of your organization. Restricted means that somebody said to you, Pastor Bola, I want you to use this money when you are going for missions. Okay. If you now say, we want to pay the person who came to play the guitar, and we don't have money, so we want to touch the money that they told me is for mission. It is restricted to mission. You don't have under legal terms, you don't have the right to move that restricted money for missions into paying for hospitality or paying the person who came to play the keyboard. You don't have the right to do that because that person has told you, I have restricted this money for missions. So we should go into whatever it has been applied to, or funded for. Okay? So sometimes you know how we say, oh, building fund.
Yeah.
Building fund, for instance, you should not say, oh, we don't have money to pay rent. Let's take money from the building fund. It's wrong. Bad financial decision. It is not allowed. Building fund is for building fund. Don't do it. So
I think that's why they have we have trust and not treasurers. Is a treasurers there, secretary treasurers in the church to manage that. I mean, for bigger ministry.
It doesn't have to be big. That's why we are talking about it now.
Yeah.
So we just want to educate people. That's why we're doing it, and I know people do it. That's why I'm talking about it.
Yeah.
So we should stop it. It should not happen. It should not happen because sometimes, especially if founders are on the trustee board, they manipulate or they bend the rules. But it's not right. Even if nobody is seeing us, God is looking at us. And God has not told us to go against the law unless it is something against our faith. You see people like Daniel, the only time he went against what the king said was when they said he should bow to an idol, which is against his faith. Look at Mordecai. They all upheld the law of the land they were in until it clashed with their faith. So we don't have any excuse to behave anyhow. We don't. There is no verse in scripture that says that we should do that. And we can see quite a few verses that tells us we should even pray for heads of government because God placed them there.
Exactly.
So what liberty do we have to so I keep saying it, you don't have to be big. You just need volunteers. You just need volunteers. And that's why I'm saying don't set up an organization, whether formally or informally, if you don't have these things in place. Because you are going to disgrace God. I want to be as plain as possible. It's true. I want to be as plain as possible because for me, it is accountability towards God. God first. Is God going to be happy with me? If somebody said, I want this money earmarked for missions, and I move it to, I'm like, oh God, please, just close your eyes. No. Jesus told us, and this is one thing I always say to prospects when they come to me. I said, Jesus said, if a man wants to build a house, he should sit down first of all and make sure he's able to finish it. Or else you get halfway and people will make fun of you. And this is what I always say to people. If you are not ready, or if you know that you don't have these things in place, please don't start. Don't start what you cannot finish. Don't start what you cannot manage. Because these things are very simple.
It's true.
Restricted, not unrestricted, having a budget, having a reserve plan. They are very simple. It's the mindset that we're talking about. Some people just don't think it's important. Some people don't think it is necessary. I don't care what theological accolade or, reverend, bishop or whatever. If you are not doing these things, I don't believe God is happy with you. Anointing does not mean that you should be annoying to the government. Do you understand?
Wow.
You don't have any excuse. You don't have any excuse to deliver your report and accounts late. And some churches do it consistently.
Wow.
I always tell this story about, how Sunday school, and they tell our children, they give them paper, go and raise funds, they know to pull at your emotions and people, we want to support children. And I took it to work. And my boss, I didn't know, unbeknownst to me, went on charity commission to go and check my local church out. And he said, yes. And he said to me, Maureen, I'm only doing this because of you. Your church has consistently delivered their annual report and account late.
Wow.
I wish the ground would open up and swallow me up.
Yay.
And then I want to preach to him. I want to invite him on Christmas Day for Christmas carol service. It doesn't compute. This is what I'm talking about. So I'm trying to be very plain so we understand. I'm not coming here with theory. I'm coming here with practical examples. So we are able to identify where we're going wrong. And so when we want to now talk at the upper level, we don't have a leg to stand on. If I want to now invite that man now, my boss, to Christmas, your church that doesn't deliver accounts on time.
Wow.
Do you get what I'm saying? It's as easy as that. I'll give you another example. I was able to, I'm very passionate, for instance, and I'm sure you will have seen it, about sharing, witnessing in the workplace, because we spend 8 hours of our lives every day in the workplace. Greater amount of time that we spend awake in our homes. Okay. Now, if I am known for the person who is always gossiping, the person who is always saying, I can't do this, and then how am I going to share the gospel? Do you get what I'm saying? How am I going to share the gospel? And then Jesus saves. Seriously? Even me, I won't take you serious. If I'm a co-Christian in that organization, I will be ashamed of you. So these are the things that so bring that now into organization level. It's the same thing. If we're not doing what is right, and we want to, and that's the reason sometimes that we are not reaching the people of this nation. You know, so we really need to wake up and straighten things out. Governance is important. It's some people treat it as a necessary evil. No. Governance is important. God is a God of order. So why would it be disorderly?
True.
I will stop there.
There is a lot to unpack. Thank you very much for sharing that, Pastor Maureen. I'm gonna go to the next question. Before I mention that question, I know when we started this discussion, you did mention something about raining day, that every organization needs to do the same. So if funding stopped tomorrow, what system should every founder already have in place to survive? Okay, I want you to put more stuff into it.
Definitely, I will. The first thing that you should always have at the back of your mind is a reserves policy, like I said. And it's not just something that you write, because sometimes people just have these things written on paper. You get a consultant like myself to put a policy together, but it's meaningless because it's just gathering dust where it is. Policies are supposed to be live documents that grow with the organization. So what am I trying to say? When you're putting an organization together, you should always have in mind, where will funding come into this organization? And when money starts to come, then you need to put money aside. So the first thing is you need to have a reserves policy. You also need to have clear financial reporting and cash flow visibility. So you need to have, you have a management report and you have the annual report and accounts. Okay. So from time to time, trustees are supposed to come together to keep looking at income and expenditure. And like I said, if you put your trustee board together properly and you have somebody who has a head for figures, who can really work with, money and all that, they're going to be able to help you with your cash flow. So your projections, do you understand? So you're not living from hand to mouth. And that's how some organizations operate. Yes, you may be small, but you can still be careful.
That's true.
You can still be careful. So again, like I said, it's a mindset thing. You can still be careful. And then you should always not just say, oh, I'm going to be relying on funding. You see, before I started working for myself, I worked with a grant-making organization, okay? So I was a grants administrator. And one of the things that we do when people apply, one of the eligibility criteria is that they should have a reserves policy. So you know how in recruitment, you look at the CV. Once we see that it doesn't have a reserves policy, we're not even going to touch it. It's not a matter of let's read maybe, because it is number one. It's one of the crucial things we're looking for in an application. Do you get what I'm saying? So it just goes to show how important it is. Okay. And then we want to also look at, are you just as an organization just depending on funding? What other ways are you looking for income to stream into your organization? So you have to have a diversified income stream. Okay? Don't just depend on, and that's why I said before that there's nothing wrong with having a CIC, as in the church, maybe selling books, selling tapes, because these are areas where income can come into the organization.
Okay.
That's why charities have charity shop. It raises money towards the general running of the organization. So it's very important to look wider beyond just, one income stream.
That's a good one. Thank you. What about a small business, not church now, like a small business now? So with this question, how can they, what is the system should every founder put in place to survive? Like a small business. I'm not a church now, but I want to open an organization. And what are the things I should put in place to survive?
It's cash flow. You have to know that cash is flowing. So for instance, a very practical thing is, and in this country, 3 months, if somebody should not owe you for more than 3 months. So you need to go after people who are owing you money, because that's the way that's your lifeblood. So can you imagine if, as a consultant now, and I've done work for 5 people and 4 of them are owing me money? How am I going to pay my accountant to do my books? How am I going to pay for my electricity? How am I going to pay my rent? I have to bear that in mind. So you need to forecast. That's why sometimes also small businesses go for loans to help them. So you have to think around all of that. Again, before you start your business, you need to do the forecast. You need to do cash flow. Do you get what I'm saying? So you need to ask yourself, if 4 people owe me money, where else can money come in? If you can't figure it out, my dear, I'm going to tell you, don't. I had to put personal money into my business to get it off ground before I'm making enough money to now pay back whatever I have taken from my personal money. But you can't go into business hoping.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? You need to really, really face reality and ask yourself, if 4 people are owing me, especially if it's goods, they can't just come to your shop and everybody's buying on, loan. How are you going to restock? And then how are you going to pay for, the general operations of the organization? So sometimes it's just common sense, but sometimes people, go by emotion. Oh, I'm passionate about this. No, you don't have to do it immediately. You have to really think, do your background. That's why even when you want to ask for loan, the banks will ask you, go and do a business plan, because crucial to that business plan is cash flow. They want to see that you are thinking forward. You're thinking ahead. So if you look at your business plan and it's not realistic, and you're not thinking, that's why they will ask you, in 5 years' time, where do you see yourself? In 2 years' time. What they're trying to see is, are you clued up as to the eventuality? Because life happens to everyone.
It's true.
Life happens to your business. What are you going to do? So, very practical.
Thank you so much, man. How about people that have this small business? Maybe they're not having a physical business. They have a name for their business, but all their businesses are online. So what should they register as?
When you say their business is online, how?
No, like people doing digital.
Shopify and all that.
Yeah, and all that stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
eBay, Amazon, all those things. Yeah.
Okay. So they don't have to register as in with, as a company limited by guarantee. They can just be what you call a sole trader. And so all you need to do is just let the inland revenue know that income is coming into you. So for instance, I'll give you my personal example. I have my speaking engagement and some trainings, they come under me as an individual. And then I have some aspects of my business that comes under that come under Right Impressions.
Mm-hmm.
So the ones that are under me, as in an individual, Maureen Carew, that I go every year, I do my self-assessment, pay my tax on it, because that's expected of me. So I'm a sole trader under that.
Okay.
And then with Right Impressions, I pay my corporation tax and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So they don't have to register as in company. They just need to notify the HMRC that they are earning income through, businesses or, through various ventures. And then, the HMRC will now notify them when they're supposed to now do their self-assessment. And you can do that online by yourself.
Yeah.
So you don't need
for social media now, innit?
Yeah. No, what I'm saying is, even with the HMRC, you just go on the HMRC website and then you register for self-assessment. That's what I mean.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
You register for self-assessment.
Okay, but you still have to submit to them that this is the amount I'm getting.
Oh yes, and it's just plain. All you're submitting to them is the figures. They're not even asking for report. You just tell them it's based on trust. Okay, they're expecting that as a citizen, a law-abiding citizen, you also know, that you're supposed to pay tax. Okay, so you just tell them I made £1,000 this year, this financial year, or £3,000 or £25,000, and they take it, in faith that you've told them the truth, and they will calculate your tax for you, and you pay that. 31st of January, that's the deadline for self-assessment.
Okay, thank you. So the other question before we go to the next one is that, so when you register as a sole trader, that means people doing Amazon, all this eBay, Etsy, and all those stuff. Mm-hmm. So how do you get your company registration number? Is it when you inform the company limited by guarantee?
Okay, so you don't
house, or which one do you?
All right. So when you are a sole trader, all you get is your unique tax reference. You don't get a company number. You have a unique tax reference called UTR, and that's what you use when you're relating with the HMRC. Until you register with Companies House, you cannot have a company number.
Okay, so with those ones selling on Amazon, all those shops, online digital marketing, so they don't have to register with the company house.
No, you don't have to. It's your decision. If you know, it's your personal decision. You can still be, as long as you're paying your tax.
But what about upholding the brand? Like you have a brand now.
But that's when you now register, because you know that there is something that you want to protect.
Okay.
So then that's why I said it's your decision. If you think, okay, I have this, that's why you have trademarks. Because even having a business name does not mean that name is protected for you.
True.
That's why you trademark it, and then you patent some of your goods and services, because you want to protect it. When you go into branding, that's something else. Do you get? But ordinarily, for you to operate and run a business, you don't have to register a company. You just need to let HMRC know that money is coming in, and this is how much you have made, and they will tell you how much tax to pay. Then if you now register as a company, then you're taking it up a notch, and there are also legal whatever that terms and conditions that you need to meet. So you can be a sole trader, or you can register a company. It's your decision. But of course, by the time you're making 25,000, 30,000, it doesn't make sense. Then you know that you need an accountant to help you to put your things together.
It's true.
Okay, so it's a personal decision.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. So what does good governance really look like in a practice, not on paper?
Okay, well, you know me, I like to be very practical, so I'm not going to give you theory. The first thing that you're talking about, good governance, what does it look like? Like I said before, when you're bringing a board together, you want to think about various aspects of your organization, especially when you're starting off, you don't have capital. you want to make sure that you have people who are bringing in skills that are going to benefit that organization. You want to make sure you're bringing in people that are going to not be liabilities, but assets, because you're going to be falling on them.
Okay.
Because what your trustees are doing, when you form an organization, the organization is not you. It's a personal entity on its own. Do you get what I'm saying? And that organization is like a baby that needs to be nurtured, that needs to be cared for. And trustees, like the word implies, they are entrusted with the care and nurture of your organization. That's why some people give up their babies for adoption, because they feel, I cannot cope. So I'm giving my baby to somebody that I think is more equipped to look after this baby. That's what your trustees are. I'm just trying to be as practical as possible so people understand. So don't bring in your cousin because, they love my passion, they understand my heart. That's not what trustees is for.
Your family business.
Exactly. Your trustee board should be people who, yes, they understand the vision, but they also have skills that they can bring in. And if possible, also the money to be able to support, So you don't want, for instance, trustees that are always going to be saying, yes, yes, yes. You have an idea. Oh, yes. No, they should come into the board meeting with questions. Why do you do this? You should always have, for instance, your constitution in front of you. Does this align with the vision? You shouldn't just wake up one day and say, oh, God has said, this is what we have in our constitution. This is what you told us God said. Does it mean that you cannot change? Yes, you can, but you have to follow due process, because there are some times before you go, maybe add to what you have already in your constitution, you may have to ask permission from the Charity Commission, depending on what the clauses that are within your constitution. Wow. So you need to have trustees that are clued up, not only with your passion, but with their responsibilities. Okay? The due diligence that they are supposed to do, that they are not manipulated, or you don't overwhelm them, or they don't get into a place of emotion. Okay, but they are looking critically to make sure that there's alignment with your constitution, whatever you're doing. So that's it. Also, some charities, some ministries have meetings, they don't have minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
You always have minutes. Yes. Some even don't even have meetings. So whenever I register charities, I always say to them, make sure you do trustee training, which of course I do. And I always say to them, I have various packages. For those that don't want to spend money, I have the basic. Because it's important for your trustees to understand their responsibilities. Because if the Charity Commission comes, they're not going to be asking. Ignorance is not an excuse. It's no excuse.
True.
So what does good governance look like in practice? Your trustees should be clued up. Good systems and practices in place. Submitting your annual report and account on time. That's good governance. Remember, I was saying at the beginning, some people see governance as admin. It is not admin. It is the backbone of your organization. That's what holds it together. So making sure that all the compliance that is expected of you, you meet all of those. Okay? So decisions that are made, the decisions are in the best interest of that organization. I remember when my child was, trying to, what do you call it now? When he wanted to choose the university he was going to go to, and advising him. And one of the things that I said to him was, have we ever advised you wrongly? And he did not say yes. So that's what I'm trying to say. So trustees, they are supposed to do what is in the best interest of the organization. Just like my husband and I are making sure we're making decisions for our children that are in their best interest, not our interests. Not because, I went to Oxford, so you too, you must go. What is in the best interest of this child? So I always tell people, that's why I really bring it to practical terms. A child, will you do harm to a child? If not, then don't do harm to your organization. It's like a baby that you have to nurture. Make sure you feed it with the right diet. The trustee board should not be yes people around you. They should be people that realize what their responsibilities are, and that's what they're pursuing. Not your pet projects and pet programs. Not what makes you look good, but what makes the organization look good and fulfills its purpose as outlined in the Constitution.
Wow. that's I don't know what to say.
I know.
Wonderful. Let's just move on.
Too, so I love.
Wow. In fact, that's a good one. Well done, man.
If you want to prove, for instance, maybe you want to apply for funding. Some of the things that will really beef up your funding application will be the things that you have done in the past. So if you have testimonials and people can say, oh, maybe for missions or some social work that you've done in the society, and people are talking about you. I mean, how do people have MBs and all those awards? It's because people are talking about them.
True.
So how do you want to prove that your work is good? And it doesn't need tools. We have a phone now that does a lot of things. They just need to do 1 minute on their phone and send it to you. That's it. You can put it on your website. So you don't need gadgets to have good governance. You don't need it. Again, like I keep saying, is the mindset. When we have that paradigm shift, when our mindset are in the right place, we will realize that there are so many things that we can do without spending a lot of money.
True. That's very true. So what warning sign shows a charity or CIC is heading towards trouble?
The first and foremost is when the founder is dominating the organization. What I say goes. Remember what I said when we're talking, that you shouldn't surround yourself with yes people on your trustee board. So in a situation where all the trustees are in awe of the founder, is heading for disaster, because you can't have informed decisions. You will not be able to really brainstorm. What's there to brainstorm when all you are doing is the ideas that are being given to you? There's no brainstorming, and the trustees are just figureheads. They're not there. They're not even doing their jobs as the Charity Commission expects. Okay, so that's one thing. But no financial reserves, like I've said before. Late filings consistently. If you have an accountant that you've given your bookkeeping to, you've done all your books and everything, and they keep filing you late and you are paying them, move. You see, sometimes people tie themselves to accountant because those accountants are doing them a favor. This is the problem. He doesn't charge you as much as if you go out, but then he's also killing you. I had a situation where a client came to me. They wanted to register their organization, and I said to them, oh, I need your last 3 months bank statement. And I was looking through and I'm like, oh, excuse me, you guys are in the red. And the client said to me, no, we are not. I said, but what I'm seeing here and the report on accounts is in red. So I said, okay, you know what? Give me the number of your accountant. And by the time we finished, they realized that he was not doing the books well. But how much? They were paying him pittance. So I don't know. Maybe he didn't even bother to do the books. Maybe he did. I don't know. Do you get what I'm saying? So one of the things I also do is when people ask me, because I don't force anybody, I just say to them, if you need a good accountant, it will cost you, but I trust his work. And both of you will agree, I'm not taking any cut. It's only because I want you to do what is right. That's why I'm recommending this person, because I know the person will do a good job. It's up to you. You may go with him or you may not. But because I love excellence, I will recommend this person. And the people who have been using his services they have not faulted him one day.
That's good.
So that's what I do. The things that I can't do, when I know people who can do them well, I also recommend them. And I'm not taking percentage or whatever. It's for the love of the kingdom. Because I just believe that as citizens of God's kingdom, excellence should be the least that we are pursuing.
Very true. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. If you were starting again from zero, what will you do in your first 90 days?
So what do you mean? Me as a person, or if that person, if they're starting an organization?
I want you to picture yourself in that category. Let's say now things have happened and you want to start all over again, and we're just starting from the scratch. So what will you do in the first 90 days?
First of all, clarify the vision and the mission. Okay. The Bible says, write it down so that whoever reads it will run with it. But you cannot run with a vision that is blurred. You cannot run with a vision that is not clear.
Okay.
So, and that's why for me, when people come to me, and I think I mentioned it when we were starting, I always ask, what is your vision? Go and write it down. I ask for people to do a brain dump. Just tell me everything that is in your brain. Don't even care about the grammar. Just tell me, I woke up one day and God said to me, go and do this, go east. Don't even make it look nice. Just dump everything that is in your brain. I will help you to unpick it and present to you. This is your vision, and this is what your mission should be. And these are the activities that fit in with it, according to what you have given me. So the first thing is clear vision and mission. Because that's when I'm going to now be able to tell you, oh, that suits, it's a CIC that best suits this. It's a limited, is a company limited by guarantee that you should go for, or is a charity that you should go for. Without the vision and mission, I can't even help you. So that's the first thing. Then you will choose the right structure. Okay. Then, like I said, your board. Who are the trustees that you are bringing in? Are they bringing some things that will make them an asset to your organization, or they're going to be a liability? So don't just go and grab anybody out of the streets because you are in a rush. The Bible says, he who believes does not make haste. Sit down, think. And then, like I said, funding stream. Where is money going to come from? These are the requirements, legal requirements. Are you able to meet it 12 months down the line? If you cannot answer that, don't go and register. And I always say to people, and it's my conscience that makes me advise people that way. Because if you come to me and you say you want to register a CIC, there is nothing that is said. I don't have a responsibility to be telling you where you should do a charity. Maybe you said you want CIC. Okay, I will get my money. But I always tell people I will not be able to face God. And my relationship with God is too important for me. And so what I'm doing, I always tell people, is a business as well as a ministry. So I'm not there to make money. Of course, I don't want to lose money. I want to make money, but not at the detriment of people's mistakes, of people's vision. You understand? I want people to, and that's why I have recommendations. Okay, I don't do a lot of advertising, but people still keep coming because when you do a good job for somebody, they will recommend you.
That's
true. A pastor once said to me, he said, Pastor Murray, you are a Christian, a real Christian. For me, I hold on to that. When I remember that, it makes me grow 10 feet taller. How many people can you say that? Even some pastors, you can't call them Christians. I'm sorry.
No. True. Yeah.
Do you get me? So you need to be able to ask yourself these questions. And these are the questions I ask people when they come to me. Do you have a clear vision, mission? If you don't, let's sit down together. Let's do that. Then, who are the people that you are choosing as trustees? I tell you, and I tell you, make sure you train them. And the reason why I ask you to train your trustees, number one, for them to know their responsibilities. But number two, for you to also invest in them. Don't just say, oh, they're giving up their time for free. So let them also know that you appreciate them. And you're also depositing something into their life. Don't just be getting. And you're not adding to their lives. They should be better off because they are with you.
I think the reason why majority of organization or head of organization, or I don't want to be using pastor, so the pastor will not say, what did we do? Exactly. So I think some pastors used to say, or leaders, let me just use that word, leaders. Yeah. They used to say that, okay, but we're feeding them with the word of God. We're praying for them. So why should we do other stuff for them,
Okay. But Jesus fed the 4,000 and the 5,000. Why didn't he say, oh, I'm giving you the word of God? Yeah? Even Martha that was preparing food, it was just that she was doing the right thing at the wrong time. Did Jesus still not eat? When Jesus in John chapter 4, when he was with the Samaritan woman, the Bible said the disciples went into town to get bread. Okay. So he said, man shall not live by bread alone. He didn't say they will not live by it at all.
Pastor Maurice.
I will just stop there.
Okay, before you stop there, what can pastor do or leaders do for their trustee? What can they do for them?
But that's what I'm saying. The training is good from time to time.
Send them for training.
Exactly. Away days. Where they just come out together, have some team building times together. It will build up their morale. And you can cover that from even your charity cost.
It's true.
It doesn't have to come from your pocket, and it doesn't have to be something, lavish. So just think about those things. That's what I'm talking about. Jesus will pull his disciples away. That's the principle. Away from all the stress. Away from all the demands. Spend time together, and you'll be amazed at the ideas that will flow.
It's true.
These are the things. So starting again from zero, you want to clarify your vision, funding model. How am I funding this vision that God has given me? It's important. 12 months down the line, can I afford an accountant? If you cannot afford it, don't even say you are registering. Okay? So, like I mentioned, good trustees with good skills. And if they have deep pockets, it also helps.
Deep pockets.
Set up financial systems. Like I said, some people don't even have petty cash system. Okay? Don't just dip hands after offering and say, have a policy. Once the money has been counted and everything, and we have noted it, then we can take money, just
accountability.
Simple. That is it. It's a simple system. We're not asking for an accountant to come in. It's just simple things. But like I keep saying, is the mindset. And then draft key policies. I always say to churches, especially, that there's no way we men make up 75%. Let me just say it like that. Although in my heart, I'm saying 90. But let me just say 75% of the church. And why am I saying it? They will bring children. So at the very least, you should have a safeguarding policy. That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. Do you understand? So, and then the other thing that I always say to people, if my church, you have to climb stairs to come for service, you're already eliminating the disabled community.
True.
You're already eliminating the elderly.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? So these are the things that you need to think about too. Don't say, oh, we just saw this building. Have you thought about your members? Have you thought about the community you're in? Because if you want to reach the community, then you have to think about the people who are in the community. Will they be able to come for service? So these are all the things that you need to begin to think around that will help you to make the right decision to care and nurture for the vision God has given you.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Wow. What difficult reality must founders acknowledge about leading mission-driven companies?
Okay, if your organization is missions driven,
Yeah.
then it means that you have the mindset of a steward and not of ownership.
Okay.
Because if it is missions driven, is that God has given you a vision.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So that ministry, that organization does not belong to you.
True.
It belongs to God. And so you're not going to treat it as your personal project. Mm-hmm. And that means that you're going to welcome other people feeding into it. That's what God did for Moses. When he was going to kill himself, he was the only one that was judging. And God said, the spirit that I have given you, I'm going to multiply it into the 70 elders. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So, knowing how to delegate, but first of all, having a stewardship mentality, not an ownership mentality, to go a long way. Okay? And you make sure that you are always guided by the mission, the vision of the organization. Like I said earlier, you don't just wake up and say, oh, I'm not doing anymore. What's going to happen to your members? What's going to happen to your trustees? Do you get what I'm saying? So, but if you're a steward, you will not think that way. You're always thinking, these people like Moses, these people that God has given me. He never saw himself as the person in charge. He knew that he was an under shepherd under God. So your organization, even me as a business owner, God is my CEO. God is my CEO. I don't have an ownership mentality. I have a stewardship mentality by the grace of God. This is what God has given me. So whatever I'm doing, and that's why I respect my clients, even the ones that can be rude sometimes. You know, some people just think because we are paying you to deliver a service, then I can talk to you anyhow. Even when I was working, God, I would get some emails and I would be so upset. And God would tell me, respond to that email the way you expected that person to write the email to you.
Wow.
So I have to readjust my thinking to align with the Holy Spirit and then communicate. Don't give fire for fire. You understand? And I'm talking of people who are not even in the kingdom. After all, the Bible says we should live peaceably with all men.
Amen.
As much as lies in our power. But we have the Holy Spirit who empowers us. Do you see what I mean? So these are the things that founders should have at the back of their mind, whether corporate or charity. Have a stewardship mentality, not ownership. And that's also going to affect how you relate with people. Because when you are a steward, remember the parable that Jesus gave us. When the owner, the master went for a long journey, and the steward was just, the chief steward was just beating the servants anyhow. Do you get it?
Yeah.
But if you have a stewardship mentality, you are accountable to God, whether in the corporate world or charity world. You will, your clients, your suppliers, everybody will be, you will treat them with respect, with dignity, with honor. Because you are a steward. You know that God is watching over you. You are listening to God. He's telling you, this person do this, this person do that. There are some clients, God will tell me, this was going to give you trouble. Don't take it. I don't care how much money you are giving me. There was a client I had once, and she said, oh, okay. When I told her, I think we have to part ways. And she even wanted to pay me for my time. I said, no. Why? Because God told me, don't even touch anything. Just Christian. It's not unbeliever. He's a Christian, but God told me this was going to give you problem. So when you're a steward, you are not out for the money. You know you are in partnership with God. God is leading you. Just like Jesus said, I don't say what I haven't heard my Father say. I don't do what I haven't seen my Father do. Now, am I perfect? I'm not saying I'm perfect. No, I miss it. So I'm not trying to paint a perfect picture here. I'm just saying this is God's expectation and we should walk towards it. So as a founder, these are the things that it's not, your charity is not an extension of you. You are managing it on behalf of God. They are two different things.
Wonderful. That's a good one. Thank you for sharing that. That's really good. That's very impactful. Okay. What is one action everyone watching should take this week to strengthen their organization?
I think they should go back to their constitution and ask themselves,
Okay.
what have I been doing from the
Mhm.
inception of this organization? Is there alignment between my purpose and my practice?
Wow.
Is there alignment between my purpose and my practice? Have I veered off
Mm.
the vision that God has given me? And from time to time, I think we should all check and make sure that we are going according to what we have written, what we believe that God has given us. Am I really operating in the line of this? You know, I've just finished an 8-week course with called Doing Business God's Way with Christian business leaders and entrepreneurs. And what they said to me halfway, they said, you know what? I think I'm going to start my business all over again. You know, by the time we got halfway, they said, wow, I don't think I built a good foundation for my business. And that's what it's supposed to be. You know, because when God comes in the right place and he takes the right place in your organization, then you're going to tell yourself, wow, I have built a monument for myself. I now need to build an altar for God. They're two different things. You know? So the action that I'm expecting people to take from this is to ask themselves, is there alignment between purpose and practice? Also, do I have the right structure in place? Because many times I have people coming to me who have registered in one way because it was quick and easy and cheap. They've not taken time to ask, is this the best structure for this organization? Because one thing that is important is sustainability. And I'll give you an example. One day, my baby was crying and I didn't know what was making him cry. Do you know the baby grow was too tight? He could not stretch his feet. And that was what was making him cry. I can't remember now how we resolved it and we knew finally that was what was it. He was restricted, he was constrained. The baby grow was too tight. If you have the wrong structure, it will not help you to grow the way you are supposed to grow. It will limit you. So it will not serve the purpose for which that organization has been set up. So you need to think about that as well. So I've spoken about purpose, alignment between purpose and practice. I've spoken about also now the right structure. Have you put the right structure in place for this vision? You know, I also want you to begin to see that organization as something that God has entrusted into your care. So not ownership, but stewardship. Okay? That is very important.
Wonderful. Wow. What is one policy, or one document a founder should have?
From day one.
From day one.
Okay. Especially if they are going to be part of the board of trustees, it's conflict of interest. Conflict of interest means that there are some decisions that will involve the founder. And so when they are making decisions about it, he should not be present. Because as far as the Charity Commission is concerned, his presence there may affect the decision, especially if he's a dominant person. Okay, if he has a dominant personality. What they're thinking is, just by being there alone, even if he doesn't talk, the other people will feel manipulated just by his presence to make decisions that will be in his or her favor. Okay, so say for instance, they want to put somebody on salary or they want to increase that person's salary. He shouldn't be there. Because if we say we're even going to cut the salary, are you going to say it in front of him or her? We are cutting the salary. People will not even be able to express their mind. So conflict of interest policy is crucial. From day one, have that in place.
Okay.
so that whenever you're making decisions and the people that are involved in that decision, or the result of that decision, if they are going to be there, then you can't make, a decision that is in the best interest of that organization. It will be biased.
To bias, yeah, true. That's a good one. Thank you for that.
So that's one important policy and document that every organization should have.
How can founders protect themselves personally, legally, or financially when running a charity or CIC? We should just include company limited by guarantee as well, not only charity and CIC.
Yeah. Well, any organization at all, the trustees or the board should understand their duties. If they understand their duties, even when the founder wants to go wrong, they will remind the founder that, this is, if he or she wants to dominate or, change the course of events during a meeting, the trustees, if they are good trustees, will be able to remind the founder, no, we're not supposed to do that. This is my name at stake, or the name of the Lord at stake. Okay? And then to ensure that decisions are minuted. Okay, you take minutes. I'm saying this because I know it doesn't happen at all meetings. Okay? And it's very important. Take minutes and that they are actually read. It's not one that you just put there, because there should be action plans. When you have meetings, there will be actions that need to be taken on the back of the meetings that you have had. So how, if you don't distribute the minutes, for instance, how are people going to know the actions they're supposed to take? So that the next meeting that is going to be held, people have come in with report of the actions they have taken. Then declare conflict. So if they say next thing on the agenda is the salary of the director or the founder, you declare it. At this juncture, and you minute it. The director has left the meeting, has excused him or herself from the meeting. These are the checks that can be put in place by the founder or also the trustees that will protect the credibility and the reputation of the organization as well as the founder, and protect them legally and even financially. Because if the Charity Commission, for instance, know that they didn't follow conflict of interest policy, for instance, it may become a legal problem. And it will cost the organization money if they go to court. So these are the things that, and then last but not the least, trustee indemnity insurance. That means that you are insuring your trustees from paying, legal. So, for instance, if the Charity Commission think that the trustees have not taken they've not made due diligence, with regards to a decision or something, at least that insurance will pay towards their legal fees. They won't have to pay out of pocket, depending on the nature of the offense, especially if the offense or whatever the Charity Commission is looking into is with the organization and not the trustee itself. So these are some of the things that you can do to protect the organization or the founder legally and financially.
Thank you for that insight. Before I go to our final question, if somebody, now I know you've said quite a lot, trust me. If somebody wants to start a ministry now, for example, and now we got these three organizations in front of us. We got the charity, we got the CIC, we got the company limited by guarantee. And sometimes when people want to register something, there's so much different advice from ABC. Oh, go to company limited by guarantee. Oh no, don't go to that one, go to charity. And the majority of people believe that to register a charity, you need to have like 5,000 in your account. So can you please explain these three organizations and differentiate it for somebody that is, that doesn't know anything? Yes, God has come into ministry, or God has come in to start something in the mission field, and I want to organize something to create fund, to help people. Like Billy Graham. Billy Graham doesn't have a church, but he has like a ministry. There's a difference between the church and ministry. So let's say somebody like that, like Billy Graham coming up now, and now he landed in UK. It's all charity, CIC, company. So which one should we go for? How do you, guide them to know which one to go for?
All right. Remember what I said. I'll always ask people, where is your funding going to come from? And that's what will determine the structure, because whether you're a CIC, limited by guarantee, or charity, you're talking about structure. And so first of all, I need to understand where your funding will be coming from. And the reason why I would ask for your where your funding is coming from is because even with a CIC, even though it is non-profit, it still makes profit. So if you set up as a CIC, it has already eliminated company limited by guarantee or charity. Now, if everything you're going to do is totally charitable, like a ministry, for instance, or a church, that is a charity.
Okay.
Because everything you're doing is charitable. Even if you're going to sell tape, it is from a charitable perspective. Not because, oh, wow, there are 500 people. If I sell books, 15 pounds per head. That's not the way you're thinking. You're thinking, I've written this book to feed the flock of God. So whatever money we get from it, even if we have a charity shop, is because we're plowing this money back into. Okay? So as a charity, everything you're doing is charitable.
Okay.
You are not thinking profit. With a CIC, you're thinking, I want to make money even though I want to be good to the society. And the government has allowed you to do that. So you can be a CIC and you're serving a community. Okay? Now it can be a community of maybe legal people. It can be a community as in physical place. It can be a community of maybe Christian women that you want to empower. So it means that they will pay a token or, some amount of money to come for events.
Okay.
And you are allowed, like I said, there's a cap to how much money directors can make from that, but you are allowed to be paid. Okay. So when I understand your vision, also when it's limited by guarantee, then, it's seen as non-profit, but it doesn't give room for charities to grow. So that's why, and then some sponsors will even tell you that they prefer for you to be registered as a charity rather than as a limited company as a company limited by guarantee. Okay, so depending on where your funding is going to come from, and I always say to people, even as a CIC, they are not expecting you to be reliant on grants. That's what people don't understand. Oh, let's do CIC because it's quick, it's cheaper, and then I will go for grants. They are not expecting you to be dependent on grants. So first year, second year, third year, fourth year, nobody will give you money. That's what people don't understand. And then even funders, it's not many funders who understand how CICs operate. I remember that even where I was working before I became solo, they didn't understand CIC. I had to educate them. Because they just saw it and like, oh, they're not eligible. I had to explain how CIC operate. So it really depends on your vision. It depends on where your funding is coming from, and then I'll be able to enlighten you.
So what about this mentality?
Sorry?
What about this mentality? Okay, you're going there now. What about this mentality that people have that when you want to open a charity, you need to get 5,000 in your accounts?
Okay, so it used to be that, but not so anymore. And I will just try and give a little bit of historical background to the charity sector in this country. So in the past, it used to be that when churches, for instance, want to get a legal structure. So in the past, before you can register as a charity, the Charity Commission will expect that you have a turnover of minimum £5,000 in your account. And then from time to time, the Charity Commission will meet with heads of charity, have a discussion with them. Are we serving you? How, are you happy with the practice and all that? And so there's always improvement to best practice. And so over time, when the Charity Commission realized that registering as a trust, because then you will also have to register as a trust. What made the trust not to be the best or the most suitable is that the trust cannot own property in its name. So for instance, if my charity is called Vineyard, if we bought a property, it has to be in the name of the trustees. And that means that they can be personally liable. Okay. And that trust is not seen as an entity on its own. Okay. So over time, meeting with heads of charities and all of that, they realized that it's not the best structure. Okay. And so they came in first with charitable company, whereby the organization will first of all register as a limited by guarantee, and then register that limited by guarantee as a charity. Okay. Okay, so you have what is called charitable company. But also some of the limitations of that, or some of the issues that came along with that, was that you will need to pay at least an accountant twice. How? Because the way you will submit reports and accounts to the charity sector is very different to how you will make it for the company's house. Sure. So again, there was a review of that, and before they now decided to bring in the CIO, Charitable Incorporated Organization. So it's like the charitable company, but now being regulated by the Charity Commission. Okay. So now your charity becomes an entity on its own because it's incorporated. It's like a company, but it is a charity. And so that organization stands on its own and can own property, can recruit and hire staff, and do so many things that a company can do, but that a trust could not do in the past. Wonderful. So that's a brief history of how the charity structure has evolved over time. Okay, so now when they now made the CIO, they said you don't even have to have money in your account before you can set it up. Okay. Yeah. So people come to me, but we don't have £5,000. You don't have to have £5,000 if you meet the criteria for this. So let's look at your vision. Let's see what you want to do. Then we can register you as a CIO, Charitable Incorporated Organization.
Wonderful. That's so impactful. Okay, my last question. What does real sustainability look like beyond grants, and how can founders start building it now?
Okay, remember what I said about sustainability. It means how are you going to sustain this organization over a long period of time. So now, what are the best practices? What are the things you need to put in place to make sure your organization doesn't only just survive, but it thrives? So I'm just breaking it down so people who are listening can understand what we're talking about. And the first thing, remember what I said, diversified income stream. Don't set up your charity just based on grants. Oh, we'll be looking for grants. Make sure there are other ways in which money can come into your organization. Very important. And that's why some churches also sell tapes and books, so that they're not just dependent on tithe and offering.
I don't think many churches are really doing that anymore, because now everything is on social media, isn't it?
Of course, recently. But I'm just saying, that's one of the reasons why we went into selling tapes and whatever. But what some churches have also done is that they do, even on social media, they have some that maybe is for members. No, so you membership, is on, it's locked, and you can unlock it with some, amount of money. So there are various ways in which people are working around this.
I think I've seen such on YouTube channel.
Yes.
There are some churches now, they only put members only.
Exactly.
So if you want to access it, at least,
yes.
Yeah, now you know, okay, that's fine.
So that's also ways in which people are working around all of those things that are happening. Okay? Strong reserves, rainy day.
Yeah, that one.
Reserves. Make sure you put money aside for the rainy day. Then clear value proposition. What are people expecting from your organization? Some people may not be member of your church, but if they love your project, they will support it.
That's true.
There was a church that I used to go to with my friend many years ago. I was not a member of it, but if they have programs, I will give money towards it. Because when they have programs, I enjoy the speakers. And I just felt I should sow towards what they're offering.
True.
Very clear value proposition. I knew what I was getting, benefiting from them. So it didn't hurt my pocket to give towards what they were offering. Okay? And a board that thinks long term. A board that is not biased. A board that knows its responsibilities and really give their time, treasure, and whatever they have, skills to support. Remember what I said, they are an asset, not a liability to the organization. Grants can be helpful, but sustainability comes from strategy. So you need to make sure you sit down, you think about your funding strategy. Don't just hope that, things will happen. Okay? It's different if, but like God said to Elijah, I've prepared a woman that will get, that's different. God gave you specifics.
Taking instruction, yeah.
But generally speaking, you should be planning ahead.
Pastor Maureen, thank you so much for your time. In fact, I'm really, really grateful. And thank you for honoring this call. You know what? You just summarized my last statement for my audience. Anyone that is going to come across our what's it called, our video. But what I'm just going to say, one more thing I'm just going to say to people going to listen to this is that do not surround yourself with yes people. So make sure you look for people that are skillful. Even though apart from in the church organization, even outside, outside church, you have an organization, and don't be like the mentality of I'm the boss,
Yes.
Because if you are if you have a mentality of a bossy person, people will not be able to give you their best.
That's right.
Yeah, they won't be able to give you their best. So that is all from us for today. That is it from us for today. Bye from now.